Hello everyone, and welcome to Changeling Gaming. Today I'm teaching you how to play Betrayal at the House on the Hill. Betrayal at the House on the Hill is a level 3 pick up and play game for 3 to 6 players that can take anywhere from 45 minutes to 3 hours to play. We do want to issue a warning about this game, for in essence this is a horror game, though the specifics of the horror and what you may find are varied. Please be considerate before playing this game if you or those you are playing with are easily unsettled. In Betrayal at the House on the Hill, we play as a small group of normal people entering a haunted house atop, well, a hill. The house is developed as we play, and at some point we will trigger what is known as the haunt, wherein one of us will usually betray the rest, and the whole goal of the game changes. The version we are talking about today includes the expansion for the game, known as Widow's Walk, though any rules specific to that expansion will mostly be covered after the main rules of the game. Feel free to go to the timecode on screen if you want an explanation of just those rules. Setup. First, shuffle each of the 3 decks of cards, events, items, and omens, and place them within reach. Next, find the entrance lobby tile, the basement landing tile, and the upper landing tile, and place them in the middle of a table with plenty of room. If you're playing with the Widow's Walk expansion, add the roof landing tile to these preset tiles. These are the starting positions for the ground floor, basement floor, upper floor, and roof floor respectively. Then put the rest of the tiles in a stack and shuffle them together. Separate out the various tokens and place them nearby. The small monster tokens can be set aside for now, as can the hexagonal item and triangular check tokens. The square markers should be kept near the game board, and if you have the character markers from the Widow's Walk expansion, these should also be placed nearby. Next, players should choose the character they want to play from the cards available. Pick one of the 2 sides, and place the appropriate character model in the front hall. Each player should take 4 indicators and place them at the green starting values for each of their characters' 4 traits: speed, might, sanity, and wisdom. Place the 8 special dice nearby, each of which has 2 blank faces, 2 faces with a single pip each, and 2 faces with 2 pips each. Finally, take the long green omen tracker and place an indicator at the 0. How to play pre-haunt. The player whose character's birthday is the next to occur based on when you are playing is the first player. Before the haunt is revealed, your goal is to explore the house and get stronger so you have a better chance of success in the second half of the game. On a player's turn, they can take as many of the following actions as they want in any order: moving, discovering a new room, using any items or omens they possess, attempting a die roll, or making an attack. Though you may only attack once the haunt has begun, more details will be available on that in the post-haunt section. When a player moves, they can move a number of tiles equal to the value of their speed on their character tile as pointed to by the indicator. The character can move between floors using the landings or other specific tiles once discovered. The grand staircase is connected to the upper landing, which is connected to the roof landing if you're playing with Widow's Walk. At the start of the game, there is no way to get to the basement landing, and anyone who finds themselves in the basement must locate the stairs that connect to the entrance hall to get out. If a player moves through an open doorway, they discover a new room, and draw through the tile stack until they find a tile that matches the floor they're currently on, based on the symbols on the back of the tile. So if you're in the basement, the tile must also say basement on the back to be placed in the basement. The exception is for the Widow's Walk expansion, where both roof tiles and upper tiles can be placed if exploring the roof, though only upper tiles can be placed in the upper floor. Replace any skipped tiles on top and flip over the new room, placing it so that one of the room's doors aligns with the entrance taken by your character. This placement cannot seal off a floor from placing further tiles, so follow the rules on page 9 of the rulebook for how to resolve this issue if it arises. There are a few special rooms whose details are called out in the rulebook, but there is one subcategory we'd like to talk about, known as barrier rooms. These are rooms like the catacombs and tower that require trait rolls to pass. In these cases, it is important to keep track of which side of the tile you are on, as well as any monster, items, or other cards affecting the space. When you enter any room, read any text on the tile that occurs when you enter. Then if it has a swirly, ox skull, or raven symbol, draw the appropriate card from the event, item, or omen deck and read it aloud. Read out and resolve a drawn event card immediately. If that card calls for you to make a check of some kind, refer to the appropriate trait on your character tile, using the indicator to determine which number to use and roll that many dice. Add up the total number of pips on the dice to get your total check result. Compare that result to the event card and see what the outcome is. This process is the same for any trait roll you make during the game. A drawn item card is something that your character now possesses, with various possible effects and drawbacks outlined on each card. When and how to use these abilities will be spelled out on each individual card. A drawn omen card generally functions the same as an item card, and exceptions will be noted on the card itself. However, when you want to draw an omen, you must also increase the omen tracker by 1, and then roll 6 dice in what is known as a haunt roll. If you roll less than the number on the omen tracker, then the haunt has begun. We'll return to that though. In the meantime, if you roll equal to or higher than the number on the omen tracker, continue playing as before. Once a card of any kind has been drawn, you are not allowed to move any farther, though you may still use items and attempt to any die rolls for your current space, and then your turn is done. Resolve any "if you end your turn here" effects on your current tile, and let play pass to the player on your left. Note that a card is drawn only when a tile is flipped over for the first time. Please note that you can only use an item or omen once each turn, and you can only attempt a die roll for a specific check once each turn as well. Also, whenever a card or room tile has an effect that calls for you to increase or decrease one of your traits, the number that you increase or lower by is the number of values you increase or decrease that trait by. So if your speed increases by 2, move the indicator up 2 values. If your sanity goes down by 1, move the indicator down 1 value. If you ever take physical damage, this decrease can be split as you see fit between speed and might. Mental damage is split between sanity and knowledge. So taking 3 points of physical damage could be a decrease of 1 in speed and 2 in might, or even a decrease of 3 in might and no decrease to speed. Be careful though, since if any of your traits ever drop to the skull value or below, your character dies immediately. But until the haunt begins, the lowest a character's traits can go is the value just above the skull. Post-haunt. If the haunt has been triggered, now is the time to figure out what happens next. Using the omen card that was just drawn and the room where that omen was discovered, reference the following chart in the beginning of the Traitor's Tome, cross-referencing the omen along the top with the room along the side. If playing with the Widow's Walk expansion, there is a handout that contains all available haunt combinations. The number at the intersection determines the haunt that you are playing. Check the haunt number below to find out who the traitor is, including how to break any ties that may occur. Once the traitor, if there is one, has been determined, have them flip to the page of the appropriate haunt and hand the rest of the players, who are now known as the heroes, the Secrets to Survival book, and both read the titles of the haunt to confirm you are looking at the same one. Then, go to different rooms, and learn what your new goals and objectives are. If you're in the group of heroes, discuss your strategy, and prepare for the betrayal in your midst. Do keep in mind that your goals are quite varied, and oftentimes not obvious to players on the other team, so try to keep them secret for as long as possible. In the case of a hidden traitor, grab small monster tokens numbered 1 through the number of players, and shuffle them, handing 1 to each player. The player with the number 1 token is the traitor. For more rules on hidden traitors, see the rules on page 17. Unless otherwise stated, play post-haunt begins with the player to the left of the traitor. If the traitor is hidden, or there is no traitor, then play continues to the left of the haunt revealer. There is one new action you can take after the haunt is revealed, making an attack, though you can only make 1 attack per turn. Attacks are made against opponents in the same room. When attacking, you make a trait roll using your might, and your opponent does the same. The amount of damage done is equal to the difference between the 2 rolls, with no one getting hurt on a tie. It is also possible to attack using other traits through the specific rules of a haunt or an item or omen that a character possesses. These work the same as a regular attack, except both aggressor and defender roll the other trait instead. For instance, both attacking and defending with sanity trait rolls. Might and speed attacks deal physical damage, while sanity and knowledge deal mental damage. If an opponent doesn't have a value for a trait, then they cannot be attacked using that trait. When a monster is defeated, unless otherwise noted, that monster is stunned instead of taking damage. Flip the token over to the S side, and while it is stunned, a monster cannot inflict damage. There are also distance attacks, which are treated as line of sight. Essentially, so long as the character making the attack can see the target through a straight line of open doors, then they may make an attack. Though if they lose, they do not take any damage from the defender. You can also steal an item from a target if you would deal 2 or more points of physical damage to your opponent and the attack is not ranged. You instead deal no damage and can steal a tradable item or omen instead. Once the haunt has been revealed, play continues as before, with heroes taking their turns, and the traitor taking their turn, and now a turn for any monsters they control. Both the heroes and traitor are still explorers, who must tell each other what they are doing as they move about, and continue to explore the house, though they don't need to tell each other why they are doing what they're doing. Players can now die if their traits reach the skull value, though death may not necessarily be the end for a player or their team, depending on the haunt and its victory conditions. When a character dies, though, their items and omens are all left in the room where they died, marked by an item pile token. There is also an impact upon movement, which is that for each and every opponent in a room, it takes one extra space of movement to exit that room, though you are always allowed to move at least one space. Traitors and monsters slow heroes, and vice versa, though if a monster is stunned, then it does not slow a hero. The traitor does also benefit from some new powers after the haunt has been revealed. Most notably, they can use any beneficial text on a tile while ignoring any harmful text, or succeeding automatically in many of the checks to move about or through the house. They can also choose to not be affected by a drawn event, though they must do so before they choose to roll any dice, or else they must suffer the effects of the card as normal. After the traitor takes their turn, they take the turns of any and all monsters under their control. Like traitors, they ignore any harmful text on a room tile, though they can also climb up any tiles that are normally one-way trips to the basement. They can use special movement options on cards like the secret passage or secret stairs, but they cannot discover new rooms, and they can't carry items unless otherwise specified. How far a monster moves is different from explorers, though. They roll a number of dice equal to their speed trait and can move that many spaces with a minimum of 1. In addition, monsters are only stunned when they would take damage. At the end of their next turn, though, flip them back over. They can also only make a single attack on their turn, just like explorers. Widow's Walk expansion rules. The Widow's Walk expansion includes a new symbol that appears on many of the tiles, which indicates whether that room has a dumbwaiter. Dumbwaiters allow for a new form of movement between floors, going from the floor room with the dumbwaiter to the landing either one floor up or one floor down from the floor the dumbwaiter is on. Landings are any of the 3 tiles with landing in their name, or any space of the grand staircase, foyer, entrance hall, triple tile. In order to make this move, you need to spend an extra point of movement to do so, and if you do not have enough movement, then you cannot use the dumbwaiter. This cost is on top of any slowing of movement from opponents in a post-haunt scenario. There is also a new question mark symbol that allows you to draw an event, item, or omen card as you discover the room. The Widow's Walk expansion also adds an extra level to the house, the roof, which is accessed from the upper landing, and when being explored, any tiles for the upper floor can also be placed in the roof. This expansion also provides a new haunt matrix. As a rule of thumb, any instance of specific rules that go against the general take precedence over the general rule. This includes any haunt-specific rules. Also, while we've tried to cover the core of the rules in this video, there are still some exceptions and edge cases that will crop up. If such a scenario does occur, take a look through the rulebook for the specific sections and look at their wording. If that doesn't clear things up, then have a discussion around the ruling and try to come to a consensus. Or flip a coin to determine a ruling for your specific situation and carry on from there. We're also including a link to the FAQ for the game in the description in case that helps with the most frequently asked questions. So go out there and suffer your inevitable betrayal, setting the stage for an epic conflict that only one side can win. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to pose them in the comments below, or take a look to see if someone else has already answered it down there, and be sure to thank them if they have. If you want to learn more about what our ranking system means, check out this video here. And if you want to learn how to play more games, check out our playlist here. And remember, keep changing, keep gaming, have fun.